Results out from construction group Basil yesterday afternoon show a 34% rise in revenue for the year to December, while headline earnings a share were up 25%. Joining me to take us through the numbers and the prospects is CEO Maurius Heyns. Maurius, thanks for coming in today.
Stephen, thank you.
Maurius, it looks like it's been a strong year for you with public sector infrastructure projects helping to fuel that growth. You seem a little more cautious about the public sector projects in the year ahead. Why so?
It's basically to do with government's ability to roll out these projects. We are obviously heavily exposed to government work, and like all my other colleagues in the same industry, we're very conservative about the outlook going forward. We do understand there's a lot of work coming. It's just the timing of those projects to link up with the rollout that we have currently.
Well, just perhaps looking at your order book, is up 29%, 8.1 billion rand. What percentage of that is public sector work and what percentage private sector work?
Probably around about 70% to 30%.
On the public sector?
70% on the government work.
So you really do have a lot riding on government work going forward from here?
Definitely. Traditionally, that's been our game. And especially now, you know, a lot of your building work is always linked to private developers. And that has come down dramatically. And obviously, government is pushing out a lot of hospitals, schools. And we've been involved in that sector for quite a while. So even there, we're quite exposed to government work.
Any sign of improvements in the private sector construction work?
It's slowly picking up, but again, you know, the big thing is the feasibility of these projects, especially if you're in the upmarket residential. Very difficult. We're busy finishing some projects there, but not a lot is coming out. Office blocks are still quite available. Shopping malls has been quite predominant in our portfolio as well, but we can see that slowing down. So most of our opposition is also looking at government work, which we've set up ourselves 2 years ago in the P market, and we hope to hear some good news very soon within the next 2 to 3 weeks from some of those projects that government is busy rolling out.
And you said those projects include things like prisons as well at the same time?
Correct. We've submitted bids for 4 prisons, and it appears that that process of the evaluation of our bids is now proceeding. We've been informed that the Department of Land Affairs, that head office, as well as the new head office for Tshwane municipality, that very soon, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll hear some form of who's preferred bidders on those projects. The good news as well is that the N1, N2 toll road in Cape Town has been announced to come out within the next week or so. And that's good news because we've been working on that for more than 10 years.
And you've also been involved in lots of the Gauteng freeway upgradings, haven't you?
Yes, specifically we've been involved in the Gautrain project, but mostly as a subcontractor to that consortium, the Bombala consortium. And we've been working on 5 different of those stations, but obviously those are coming to an end fast as well. And then the Gauteng Freeway Scheme, we've been very, very involved, and we've been awarded more than 3 billion rands worth of work, which is still ongoing, even after the World Cup, that some of those will still carry on.
Of course, we know there has been a rush to get things ready for the World Cup. I'm talking about stadia, the Gautrain, some of those stations, roads as well. Do you think after the World Cup, the bottleneck's going to open and we are going to see some of those other public sector projects coming on stream?
Definitely, and we're putting our hopes on that. And from what we hear from government, it's very positive. And obviously, a lot of money, current spending has gone into the World Cup. And hopefully after the World Cup, we will be able to see those projects roll out, and we do believe it will roll out.
Of course, we mentioned some of the numbers right up at the top of the interview. 34% rise in revenue, 25% rise in headline earnings a share. Of course, you did make a number of small acquisitions during the period, one coming in right at the end, that was TWP. Correct. That's only going to reflect in the current year, I'm sure. Yeah. How much did those acquisitions contribute to your growth in earnings?
Not a lot. You know, contrary to what people are saying, in the last 4 years, 60% of our growth has come from organic. And the balance has been, Girolamo and Velopanda, they've only contributed for 4 months. So that added around about 400 million to our revenue stream. And as you said rightly, TWP we didn't take any numbers in there.
How do you see TWP contributing this year? Because of course it does really broaden your engineering base, doesn't it?
Correct. This is something we've been looking at for more than 2 years. Eventually we have settled and agreed with TWP, which I think has been a fantastic acquisition. Obviously, they've gone through a very tough time, and as their numbers showed after their mid-year results in August last year. But we're very, very upbeat about the way that the two companies have merged, management, the staff, about projects. It's incredible. It's been a very good synergies between the two groups. And I've mentioned to an investor earlier this morning, they said, why didn't you pull out when the numbers were bad? We are not short-term investors. This is a plan that we have. We see a lot of strategy surrounding TWP, and within the next, this is a long-term in 3 to 5 years. But one of the reasons has been that they are about 18 months to 2 years ahead of us in their curves. And where we're going into a downturn now, they are actually going slowly.
So it's really going to balance out your earnings stream going forward?
It's to also balance a strategy to balance out our portfolio book, if I can call it that.
And of course, the final payment of 60 million rand hasn't been paid. It hasn't been provided for either. And that's really contingent on it meeting earnings targets. Is there a problem with those earning targets for the full 2010 financial year?
No, it's very clear from our latest forecast that 211 million operating margin that they're going to do is not achievable in this climate. And therefore, with our auditors, we've agreed that they will never achieve that, and therefore we didn't bring it into the book. Together with Nigel and his team, we've agreed that it's going to be very tough to achieve that. But we're still very hopeful that their numbers will be in line with what we are producing at the moment, and that it'll get stronger.
How do you see things playing out in the current year? Of course, you do have TWP on board now. You are waiting to see some of those public sector projects coming on stream. What's it going to look like at the end of the year?
We obviously have a very full order book for this year. Secured workload is in excess of 6 billion, and which refers to our basically our turnover that we can expect. And our margins, I believe we can have some very nice margins again this year. And there's no serious problems in any of our contracts. And I do believe that if TWP can come back very strongly, it's going to make a significant impact going forward to make Basil one of the good performers.